dark. Looked out the windows. I'm alone here. All the boogeymen, bad animals, right outside stalking me, and they're the cabin down in the night. I'm under the bed, waiting. Exactly. Dead for the bed. I didn't move. I didn't. Waited. Ripped apart. Murdered by the boogeymen. By midnight. Should we go outside? Should we go for a walk? We need to get out. Out. What do you say? We should put nail polish on your claws. They're so beautiful and long. Would you like that? Sweet girl. I know one of the reasons I feel so bad about her laying around all day long, sleeping is the only thing she's got. And when I think back, when I worked 8 hours a day, she was at home alone for 8.5 hours. And I didn't think about her very often at all, having to be alone for 8 hours. She really had nothing to do then except sleep. Well, so I don't feel as bad. Well, I guess I do. But it's just that I'm more conscious of it now because I'm here. And I'm feeling guilty when I'm involved with video editing. I've been doing nothing but video editing since 5:45 this morning. And it's intense. Oh, man, I'm really getting into I'm organizing. I'm realizing I need to get more and more organized with keeping a document of each episode. And so I'm following an exact number of things, like episode number is the obvious one for first, but I won't get into that right now. We're going to go outside. All right, here we go. There. Wow, what a transformation, you know? Somebody's had a good poo. Yeah, you. Any rain? No. Half an inch. When did that come? Must have come during the night. We're getting about time. It's going to have to be taking this in for the year, or it'll freeze and break it. I guess we're going to walk that way. I was noticing that all of the little popples, 6, 10, 12 feet high, are mostly bare of their leaves, but the big popples are not. I don't care one way or another. I'm just observing nature's way somehow, for some reason. All right, Suki, you're raring to go. Let's do something. Let's go somewhere. Let's kick the bucket. Junk pile hasn't gone anywhere. Oh, Chuck. Why couldn't you have just gone along with me on my quite reasonable request to get a demolition dumpster out here and well, doesn't this look different than it did 2 weeks ago? I remember walking along here in the winter thinking, yeah, when the snow is gone, I'm gonna come in here and trim all this stuff down. At least get it all cut down on the ground so it's not sticking up like an eyesore. And then spring comes along, and I guess lots of other things take priority, and I forget what I was going to do. And then when I think about it, by late May, it's already mostly all hidden. And it's full of wood ticks. Speaking of which, the other night I was getting ready for bed. I looked down on my big toe. There's a little tiny dark spot. I thought, well, that couldn't be. It wouldn't be. Picked it out of there, put the glasses on, yeah. Tiny little wood tick. It wasn't attached. It wasn't moving. It was like stunned. So, I think it was a deer tick. Had to have been. It was so tiny. Look at that. Almost bare. So the ticks do make a reappearance. Wow. Again, no traffic. Well, there's mail. Medicare and you. Come on, damn it. Where'd she go? Oh. How does she do it? Comes up from behind. I don't know what the Turtle Trot Trail looks like. Even the air is golden. Interesting when that happens. It's just like the air becomes itself becomes colored. In the spring, it's limey green. I'm gonna have to come in here and rake, huh? Or bring the mower in. Would like to go back over to Dennis's field. I hated to leave yesterday. When the rain and hail came along, it was such a gorgeous display of clouds on many different layers of movement. Lower layers were going faster, and then there were upper layers above it that were going even faster. Very interesting to see that dynamic at work. And I've never seen it quite like yesterday. You really don't see it like you do with time lapse when things are really moving. It is time. To discard these jeans. Well, howdy do. I haven't been out here doing. Am I got this aimed the right way? Yeah. You can tell I'm out of practice. I haven't been out here for a few days doing outside stuff, which translates to toes wet terrace. I haven't been down here. And it's been cold, windy. Everything has been left where it was. I sort of dropped everything and just the last time I worked on here and said, gotta take the ladder in. Guess I'm gonna empty the wheelbarrow. I was just gonna do a couple things out here. I'm not really get the debris up. I don't think I'm gonna do any axing. I could do a little raking. I'll let you know by way of, you'll see it on video if I do something. You know what these look like? I've been looking at a recipe for sweet sour sauce. Does that give you a hint as to what these look like? Ginger. Yeah. More stumps to be grouted out, grubbed out. There, now I've done just enough to stay current with my certification. Bog terrace building, a decal to put on your car door. You know, maybe by the time spring comes around, I'll be more interested in doing this. And I have no doubt I will. All winter long, pining for working outside. But I'm pretty burned out on all of this. Tripping and stumbling for one. Sure is gorgeous. I've got an ongoing problem in the house. It's making me quite unsettled. Pop, Snapple, and Croc. The house is, I think I've talked about this before, but the house pops and thuds. And for the first year, well, okay, the house is settling. Everything's drying out. The timbers are all green, and they're shifting and settling and cracking open cracks. It'll go away. It's only getting worse now, and it has nothing to do with the house settling. It has everything to do with, I think, as I become more aware of it. It can be silent in there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then it starts in like everything is dependent on its neighbor. Its neighbor shifts and moves and makes noise. Okay, it's my turn now. I can do that too. It keeps me awake. It's just maddening. And you know, what do you do? If I was the homeowner, I don't know what the hell I would do. Take off the metal roof, put on a new one. I do a lot of asking a lot of people, what's going on here? Is there a floating type of metal roof? I think there is. At least hidden seams. These panels are just screwed directly into the OSB. Well, it used to happen at night, but that was the shifting of the timbers and all the wood shrinking. And that, I don't notice that anymore. But this noise is not ceasing. It's escalating. And what do? You complain to your landlord about it? What's he supposed to do about it? Take the house half apart? Rebuild it, and then what? Is it going to do it some more? It's not a situation where I'm going to move. I'm here for the duration of my life. Oh, hello. I'm sitting down. Does that mean you have now access? Unlimited access to me? For ear scratches? Yeah. And crotch massages on me, not you. Okay, there we go. Got one little tidbit about the woods. I was probably 19, maybe 20. We would get the Minneapolis Tribune every day. 230 miles away. Boy, they were statewide newspaper. You'd get it that morning. And I had become a real devotee, groupie of their photographers. They had like 11 or 12. And they were, in my opinion, well, they were excellent photographers. They just had eyes to see things. And I was just in the beginning of my wanting to be a photojournalist. I decided that's it. I'd been photographing since I was 8, and I just loved it. Loved the dark room, loved everything. Near the woods is a town of Markville, very close to the eastern border of Minnesota into Wisconsin. And the train tracks used to run through town, headed north for Duluth. That also doesn't matter. But at the time of this, the train did still just barely run, I think, between Duluth and Minneapolis. Markville had a summer celebration, the Markville Fair, and
We had gone to it when I was younger as a kid with the family. They had a little horsey ride out front. It was all centered around the Presbyterian church in town. Used their yards and their building that's where it was held. And I was over there one time in the summer, earlier in the summer of probably, I'll say, 1971. And I had heard the Markville Fair was going to be held on a weekend in August. Oh, okay. And then I thought of the Minneapolis newspaper, Minneapolis Tribune, being a statewide. I was used to seeing things being covered all around Minnesota, and I thought, you know what? So I wrote a letter to the editor of the Minneapolis Tribune alerting him to this event to be held on whatever the weekend was in August, and that it might be a really good thing for them to cover for their newspaper. Lo and behold, a week or so later, I got a letter from Mike Zerby, Zerby, who was one of their photographers. I knew that name very well. I mean, I watched these guys all the time. And he said, thank you for the heads up on this. I'm going to be coming north to attend the Markville Fair, and maybe I'll see you there. So, good. Cool. Excellent. I had to go. I had to meet my hero. I drove the 200 miles, got there who knows what time, and it's time for the fair. Parked, walked around a little bit. I saw a guy with a camera and more cameras than the usual guy. I thought, that's got to be Mike Zerby. So I walked over and introduced myself. Yes, it was. And we hung out a little bit. I tagged around with him. I'm sure he's thinking, who's this hillbilly hick? He was very, very endearing and very nice. He didn't give me any of that attitude at all. And then I left him alone. I don't remember how it transpired. I saw him a little bit later, and he said, I have an idea. What we're going to do is we're going to have everybody meet in front of the Presbyterian church at 3 o'clock, I'll say, and we'll take an overall group shot of the whole crowd, which probably numbered 50, maybe 75 people. I don't know. But he did say there really isn't as much to take photographically of this or that or the other. I think it'd be neat just to have the whole event in one picture. And yeah, man, that's a great idea. Boy, you are my hero. So I went back to the Presbyterian church. Well, I probably never left, waiting and waiting. He had found a big step ladder, 12 feet tall, and he corralled everybody around. He had somebody, he appointed a helper, herd these cats. He got up on the ladder, and I don't think that I thought to get in the picture. It was in the Minneapolis Tribune. So the next day, I think, second section, front page, there's the picture from high up overlooking the whole thing. Wow. That's not the whole point of this. The whole point was I did not want to drive the 200 miles back home that afternoon, evening, and I had planned to spend the night at the cabin, which is 20 miles away, and that's what I did. But that was the first time that I had ever spent the night at the woods alone in the cabin, where we had a full-size bed on an iron spring set up that the mattress sat on top of that. I think I brought a sleeping bag. And when it began to get dark and I thought about going to bed, I looked around, looked out the windows. Holy shit, I'm alone here. And all of the boogeymen and the bad animals are right outside the windows. They're going to be stalking me, and they're going to tear the cabin down and get me in the night. And there might already be some under the bed waiting for me. I spent the entire night exactly dead center in the middle of the bed. I didn't move. I listened. I waited to be ripped apart and murdered by the boogeymen and the animals by midnight. Well, I woke up in the morning, it was light out. I hadn't been ripped apart, and that was my first time sleeping at the Duxbury family cabin. Since then I've had a honeymoon there, but I was never alone again until a few years later. Isn't that something, how we can grow up when we thought we already were grown up? That's it. Well, I decided one thing. When I was looking out of the kitchen window a bit ago, I said, you know what? I got to get that ladder put away, because I don't want to come and look out the kitchen window in January and see it under 4 feet of snow. 2-3 weeks ago, I looked out one morning. It wasn't light yet. I've told you this, I guess. I saw the corner of the roof from that shed was peeling back. And so I came out here. We had high winds, really high winds. And I didn't think about the possibility that the peeling back of the tin on the roof was just in its early stages. So when I got out here, when it was light, holy, 2 of the 3 panels were peeled back, half off, and I put clamps. I don't think I can reach high enough. Yeah. And I've since bought another couple clamps. I put one more on there. I could fix it. But the problem is, I don't have the inclination to do that. I haven't had a day without much wind at all. It needs to be a very still, quiet, no wind day, or don't bother. But all those staples going through the tin that had gone into the plywood are still in place. And I can't lay that tin back down and really screw it in now like I'm going to do without pulling out the staples one by one. And that's going to be a time-consuming job that I don't have the inclination to do yet. And since they're held in place by clamps, they're brand new clamps, so they'll last all winter. That's my plan. What am I doing here? Oh yeah, I guess I should put this back in the garage where I got it. Why just put it halfway? Why don't you do the job right the first time, Chris? I've become my father. I've got this pile of knuckles, which we've talked about. You should remember what the knuckles are. They're the ends and cutoffs and non-standard chunks of BTU that are perfectly good heat, but I got a bunch. This is kind of where I've tossed them all summer. They're all when I was in wood cutting mode, and I want to get them out of here first of all because I'm going to rake this whole area before winter, because I want to be able to get the snow blower through here, clear a path for hauling wood out. And if I didn't rake this and clean up chunks like this, chunks like that, they would get caught in the impeller. Not good. So this is kind of one of the first steps toward policing the grounds. What is that? Birch bark. This is what I love about the GoPro. You can take it with you wherever you go and prop it up. Now the problem with these new ones is they've been sitting out in the weather. The stuff that's already been in this bin has been in here since don't know if you can hear that. She was down in the meadow there, and we both looked up when we heard that. Don't know what it is. Maybe it's a little kid screaming, but she looked up at me and I looked off to find her, and there she was. And she came running up here. Good girl. I don't think she was afraid as much as she was making sure I was okay. This wood is old, or new. It's been out in the rain. It's not as seasoned as it should be to burn this winter. So I'm throwing it in back. You also may notice it's grayer, more weathered. So that's a visual clue for some of the pieces. Pieces like that, it'll sizzle and smoke. That's got to be coming from the mobile home on the highway. They have little kids, or at least one little screamer. I have been hearing owls frequently. Heard one last night. I didn't recognize the call at first, and it continued a little bit longer call with an ending to it. I can't do it for you because I can't remember what it was, but it's very distinct. And then, oh, okay, that's an owl, not a wolf. I'm hoping to see a snowy owl one of these winters. Oh, I used to see them in northern Minnesota. I'm wondering if they winter. They stay in the north now to winter since it's getting warmer. Northern parts are warmer than they used to be. Don't know if you've noticed when we walked down to Otter Pond. Oh Jesus, I would have forgotten the camera. When we walked down to Otter Pond, there are two 10-foot 4x6 timbers. They're treated, and I thought, we were going to use those to build a platform by Otter Pond and build the deck to have there up off the ground. Well, we never did. There were 4 of them. 2 of them got used for the newest woodshed. I thought, I'm going to bring those up here. It's the first time I've thought about it, and when I've been down here. I'd like to build a little terrace, kind of, since it's called Toes Wet Terrace. I think I would cut them in half, lay one across where that initial berm is, come down another, maybe to here somewhere, lay it across there, maybe another one across here, and then fill it in above it so it's level with the ground level. Then you have it step down, so it'd make it into a real terrace. As I'm looking around down here, there's really no place to lay a 5-foot timber across. It'd be kind of stupid unless I can figure something cleverer out than that. Remember when we were kids? Dad would give us a ride in a wheelbarrow. That was a big high time, man. That was living large. Suki and I should make a mail run. She loves that when I say mailbox. Want to go to the mailbox? Once I touch the bike, she's barking. Well, it reminds me also, I've got hornet's nest behind there. I'm sure it's not active anymore this year, but go to the mailbox. That's it for this time. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button. See you next time.